Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Adrian, but I've been doing ecom for 5 years, and in this video I'll be going over exactly how we take brands into scaling, right? This is going to be a beginner friendly video, right? We're not going to do product research. We're not going to be doing about like what we need on a website. I'll be going over what I look at in my metrics before I start scaling, what type of ads I'm doing that's working right now, what really we look at before we actually scale the brand. So if you guys are in the stage where you're starting to scale or scaling a brand, then I would say this video is for you. If you guys don't know me, I'm from Brandify, right? Me and Samir have been running this community for over like 3 years. So I'm recently starting to start my own YouTube channel and also, giving you guys some important sauce where you guys can use on your own actual brands. So I'm gonna dive right into the computer and we'll go over exactly what we're doing right now that's working. And I'll be using an example of a brand we launched like literally a week to 2 weeks ago that we're actually scaling and how we're scaling. And we're heavily focusing on supplement brands and MRR. All right, guys, we're on the computer right now. I'm obviously gonna be blurring out some stuff, so I'll be showing exactly what type of campaign structures we're using, how we're scaling even on break even, right? A lot of people think that break even is a bad thing, which is actually not. So this brand we started like literally like 2 weeks ago or less. Maybe like a week ago, and we're doing over a couple thousand a day already. Basically, how we have the structure, right, is two campaign structures, 2 CBOs, right? And to be honest with you, the structure does not matter how you guys do it, right? There is no right way. If you guys hear that, oh, you have to have your structure like this, it's all bullshit, okay? So there is no right way on doing your structures, but personally, what I do is 2 CBOs. One CBO for testing, and the second CBO is gonna be for scaling. And what I mean by that is that, so this is our, testing, this is our testing campaign, right? So what I mean is, if you look at it, and we go on the ad set level, every day we're gonna be launching batches and batches. So each batch has its own ad set, right? And its own ad set has 5 creatives. So we don't add more than 5 creatives, or you could, right? But I wouldn't add more than 10. I will leave it between 5 to 10 is a good number to stay to. And at the same time, when you're starting, right, when we're testing, personally, when I'm starting to test, is I start at $200 budgets and at least 20 to 30 creatives launched. So that's gonna be at least 2 to 3 ad sets minimum. So what we do is pretty much just 1 CBO for testing, right? Multiple ad sets, and that's it. And depending on your budget where you start off, that's up to you. I wouldn't go less than $50, it's just not good enough. But again, this video is gonna be for people who are actually scaling, so you should be at least having some decent results coming in. When we're looking at, before we start bumping budgets, before we launch more creatives, right, these are the main metrics we really look at. So you obviously got the soft metrics, then you got the hard metrics. Personally, when I'm looking at the soft metrics, there's only a few things I really look at. The CPMs, I only look at if it's crazy high, right? The only reason your CPMs, you're ever looking at CPMs, is you have huge spikes, right? And usually that means is your account quality is really bad. That could be because you've launched a lot of aggressive stuff where you got rejected and you have a lot of rejections. So Meta doesn't really like you on that ad account. So what that means is, you're just gonna get shitty performance, right? The other thing will be is just competition, right? Competition is always rising. Every year cost is always increasing, so it's just gonna be part of the game. And the audience you're targeting maybe is just very niche down. So there's gonna be multiple ways that your CPMs are gonna be high. But if you're averaging, right, if you have average CPMs, I wouldn't really worry about it. So don't look at the CPMs that much unless it's at crazy spikes. The next thing we look at, right, is impressions, CPCs, right? You're gonna notice little, CPCs here and there higher if you're, depending on the style of creative you're running. I'm personally running native ads. I'll show you some examples of really good native ads and how you guys can use it down in this video. But right now I'm just gonna break down the metrics I personally look at before scaling, right? The next thing is CTR. Let me make these active so it's a little easier. Okay, so the next thing we look at is CTR, right? You wanna have a really good CTR. And what that could mean for you is if your CTR is not good is that, let's say you have a very low CTR, right? What that means is that people aren't clicking on your ad. That means your ad just isn't good enough for people to click with. So you definitely wanna have a really, really good scroll stopper so people can click through your ad. And there's a couple of things that this could mean, right? If you have a low CTR, what this means is that your ad just isn't, people are not liking it, it's not clickable, it's not relatable. That's number 1. Number 2 is if you have a really high CTR, but your conversions are really, really trash, that means that people are clicking on it, the ad is, engaging, but whatever they're clicking onto is not consistent, right? Whether your whether your advertorials are not speaking what you're talking about in your image ads, whether your offer is not good, right? All those things really come down to where, it really comes down to, like, think of it like, funnel, right? So they click through the ad, right? Now they're on top, now they're on your advertorial, then they're going to your product page, right? All these steps matter. And if you're, losing people on each step, there's something not, consistent. So that's what you want to look at, right? If you're talking about, let's say, blood pressure, and people go on your website and it's like, talking about like ED, you're talking about like, it's like super broad, it's not narrowed down, but your ad is specifically talking to a specific audience, you're kind of all over the place, right? So what we do is specifically is that when we're targeting a certain audience or a certain group of people, our ad is going to be targeting these type of people. Our advertisers are going to be targeting these type of people. We're going to be speaking the customer language, right? We're going to put ourselves in their shoes. That's number one, right? You want to be in their shoes, so you're connecting with them. You don't want to be just selling a product just because you're, you could sell it, right? You want to actually be in their shoes. You want to actually talk about their problem and how your product is the solution, right? So what I would recommend is always narrow down onto the angle or the problem you're solving with. So in the ad itself, the advertorial, and the product page. Do not keep it broad. Be congruent. Don't just launch bullshit, right? Don't throw shit at the wall and be like, okay, you know what, it's gonna work. It's really not. So you definitely want to be in the customer's foot, right? You want to be in there. You want to tell them a story. And one thing I could say is that if you guys are really, really not good at copywriting, I would definitely recommend you guys getting this book, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, right? I would definitely recommend you guys getting that book if you aren't good at copywriting, because that's really what's going to take you to the next level. And direct response, right? If you guys are not good with direct response, I would definitely recommend, checking our other videos by Samir, Brandify, right? We have a lot of stuff in Brandify that you guys could definitely look into. But yeah, direct response is very important when you're doing native ads. When you're actually targeting the customer, you really need to understand direct response, which I'm not gonna go through this video. It's not like, you can't really go into like 5 minutes, right? The next few things we look at is like how much add to carts we get, checkout initiates, right? Purchases, right? If we're getting crazy amount of add to carts, but like, very low conversion rate, at that point we look at like what is our offer, right? People are clicking out, whether it's negative opt-in, whether it's maybe high shipping, right? Whether it's like we're targeting Canada, but we don't even have Canadian markets enabled, right? I've seen that a lot of happen, right? People starting to scale and they're like noticing, like, hold on, my conversion rate is not good. Then I check their back end, it's like, okay, you're missing this, or your logo is completely different on the checkout, but your brand is completely different because of different product tests. So definitely the main things you want to look at is, when you're noticing a high add to cart and like low people buying it, is because it's not impulsive enough. And it goes back to your script, right? Your copywriting. It could be that, people clicked on it like, oh, you know what, this is good, they go, and then they recheck it like, oh, do I really need this, right? Maybe it wasn't, maybe you didn't talk about their problems good enough, right? So all these could really, really matter. Definitely want to look at those. Then obviously the next thing we look at is the ROAS, right? Personally, what I'm doing is scaling on break-even ROAS and losing money, right? I can afford to lose money, speaking on myself, but pretty much how we do it is MRR is very big with, scaling on break-even, right? You don't have to scale on profitability. Now, obviously, this could be a risk, so I do not advise you doing this unless you have capital or unless you're willing to lose money. And what I mean by that is, so if we look at our break-even ROAS, right? So if we go over here, right, and we go on our break-even ROAS, this tool is provided in our community if you guys are in it, but pretty much, right, you want to really, when you're starting to scale, you need to understand your break-even ROAS, right? Or not even scale, right? You need to understand your break-even ROAS from the beginning. So a good break-even ROAS to stay in is at least between 1.3 and max like 1.5, right? If it's below 1.3, even better. That's like, it only gets better, right? So you definitely want to stay at least 1.3. So let's say, we're selling our product with MRR, right? We're selling the product, comes out like $34. Our cost of goods should be at least, Our cost of goods should be between $8 to $10, right? Minimum on our MRR, right? This is MRR. So we're talking about, your subscriptions are enabled, right? So we want at least minimum our cost of goods would be 10, and $34 is what we're selling it for. So you want to stay around this break-even ROAS. And what I mean by subscription, so if you go on the subscription tab over here, right? Let's say we're bringing in over 500 customers a month, 500, which is like, how many orders is that? It's like 15 to 20 orders a day, which is literally nothing in e-com, right? Let's just say if we're doing 500, if you go back to we're averaging $53, right? On our cost per results. Again, this is a new brand, so we haven't even had upsells yet, and all of these matter when you start adding it. But yeah, let's just say we're taking this example for this video purpose, right? This brand is going to be used for this video purpose. Our CAC is $53. Front end, because we're averaging, we got different offers. We got buy 2, buy 3, buy 1, right? We have 3 different offer points in our brand, and I'm going to take the middle one just because to average it out, right? We got the bottom and the tops, so we're going to do 59, right? $59, and our cost of goods is like, if I'm not mistaken, let me check. I'm just going to put 16.5 just for here, and our opt-in rate, we'll average. We do get 100% opt-in rates. We have our own ways. If you guys don't know it, definitely. If you're in our program, we can always explain more about it, but yeah. And then our obviously subscription price is going to be the same as our AOV, and our cost of goods is going to be the same as our front end cost of goods. Monthly operations, we're just going to keep it 0. We keep month 1 of 60% retention, right? That's what we try to aim for. And then month 2, 50, 40, 25, and then pretty much afterwards, you're kind of just plateauing, right? 25, and then like 20. 20, and then like, okay, 20, right, maybe 15 here, 15, and then like 10. So that's kind of what you're looking for, right? So if you look at this, and if you scroll down here, right, month 0, we're losing money, right? Obviously, that month 0 is literally the money where you're collecting people. Month 1 is when we're profitable, right? So as you see, next month is when we're actually profitable. So we're going to be making 13.4K on our monthly P&L, and obviously 8.2 after month 0's loss. So 8.2K profit. And this is only, right, obviously not adding AOVs, not increasing customers per month, right? Obviously when you're scaling, the results are coming in, you're breaking even, you're going to keep pushing it. So your 500 customers are realistically going to be more than 500, they're going to be like 1,000. So you guys got to really understand that when you're scaling in e-com, you're scaling. You're not going to be plateauing at a certain number of people coming in. Now let's just say our opt-in rate was even 80%, right? We're still profitable on month 1. So the main goal here really is, if you're doing MRR and scaling on break even, is CAC back on month 1 and break even on month 1, right? That's the goal here. Month 1, you want to have your money back. That's the goal we go for. That's what we aim for, right? So if you really look at this, obviously, let's say we increase our AOV, right? We add, let's say shipping protection. Let's add other products that we bundle, right? Our AOV is going to go up, right? It's only going to get up. So let's just say our AOV goes to $70. Cost of goods to $20, right? Let's just say. And then $20, $70. Because when you're bundling things, guys, you guys remember, when you're bundling things together, your supplier is going to give you a better deal, right? And now if you look at it, we're going to be profitable. We're going to be making more money. So that's the main thing here. We're going to be making more money. The next thing I would say is that people really, when they start scaling, they don't negotiate with their suppliers. So let me show you an example. So this product we're scaling up. It obviously doesn't exist. So it's a completely new mechanism. No one's really doing this. That's why I have really good, I'm very optimistic about this brand. Is they started off, right? This is when we're doing I think maybe 20 orders a day, 30 orders a day, right? Or no, 10 orders a day, right? This is what they came back with. Product cost is $3, right? Shipping plus everything. One offer is 10.5, right? Plus the upsell, each one is 6, right? And the costs are really high if you think about it. Because if we're doing, for example, a buy 2 get 1 free, our cost is coming to 22.5, okay? So if you really do the math on our break-even ROAS, if we're selling something for $59.99 and our cost is coming out for 22.5, right? And these are just gonna be 0. we're at a 1.6 break-even ROAS, which is really high, and you can't really scale it. Because this is going to be a problem when you're doing MRR, right? If your break-even is high, that means you have to aim high over here too. That means your month 1 is not going to be your break-even. Month 2 might be your break-even, which delays it, right? We don't want to do that. Our goal is always month 1 break-even. So this affects it, right? And all you have to really do is you have to have leverage over your supplier. And how do you leverage over your supplier? You bring in more orders and you pretty much negotiate with them. See, they dropped our price by $2 on our 1 unit, right? 2.3, which is literally a 20% decrease already, which is a huge factor, right? Our 3 units is down to 16.6. It's from $22, $23, right? That's another $5, $6 per order down, reduced, right? So, yeah. What is the point of me talking about that is pretty much when you guys are scaling, right, don't be afraid to negotiate with your supplier, because there's always other suppliers willing to work with you. So when you guys are scaling, definitely negotiate with your supplier, drop your prices, because it's going to help you scale even more. I can afford to lose more money now because I can afford to put more money on marketing side, right? Because think about it, guys, the longer you're on ads, the more you're bumping budgets, the more you're opening up your audience, therefore the more your cost is going to go up, the lower your metrics are going to go, as in like your ROAS, your hard metrics, right? It's going to drop because you're spending more money. Facebook is finding more people. And at the same time, you know, you're going to have chargebacks, this and that, right? You're going to have higher other costs, right? So definitely negotiating is very, very important. And especially subscriptions. I will definitely incorporate subscriptions if you guys are scaling up. And if you guys don't know how to set up subscriptions, definitely, you know, comment down below and I can, you know, help you guys out with that. But definitely you guys need to negotiate with your suppliers if you are scaling up, because you're missing out on making more money. So that's another thing we look at when we're starting to scale up. I'm going to be going into some examples showing you what type of, you know, what we're actually doing. So I don't know if I've said this in the beginning, but pretty much right now what we're really focusing heavily on is native ads, right? Native ads are pretty much like these. I personally use Winning Hunter. If you guys want it, there's a link in the description. It's very good. I personally have scaled pretty well with this. And why we use this particular software is because we get to see how many, like how long they've ran the ad for, you know, what pages they're running it on there, because they have, you know, when you're writing natives, right, it's alias names. You know, you got doctor pages, right, pretending to be fake doctors. We got personal pages, right, like, for example, Steven West, right, this random dude. This dude doesn't exist. It's literally just a Facebook page under his name and like a fake AI generated image, right? And then natives are pretty much just long form text in the primary text, right? So my wife Kelly has been taking milk thistle, XYZ, right? Pretty much this is what is all about, right? Natives are doing really, really well. So I will definitely recommend this into your brands if you guys are not doing it. Definitely incorporate native ads. This is obviously an ugly image, right? And what is an ugly image? Basically a scroll stopper, basically something where it's disturbing, where people will be like, oh, what is that? You know, that kind of got me worried. Let me read it. And obviously they get them to read it. The other thing we really do is advertorials, right? So we get native and advertorials go really well together, right? So this is an example. This particular brand is doing milk thistle and parasites, right? That's what they're doing it. And the good thing about this is that people who read it will most likely convert, right? Unlike videos, right, when they watch 20 to 30 seconds, they'll either just go on the website, the offer is good or whatever it is, the product is good, they'll buy it, right? It is what it is. They buy it or they don't buy it. But the thing about native and advertorials is that those who are reading it, if they actually are reading it, there's a high chance they convert. And those who just, you know, don't do anything, they skip through it. So that's the thing. Image ads are very cheap, much cheaper than video ads. And the good thing about it is that those who read it will most likely convert. So it's actually a win-win case scenario. Especially now, I would definitely recommend it because AI is very, very good at making images, you know, doing the copywriting and everything. So yeah, if you guys are not good at copywriting, again, I strongly recommend you getting this book. All right, I don't know what happened there. My camera overheated for some reason. But yeah, guys, so pretty much natives do really well. If you guys are scaling or in the process of starting to scale, definitely incorporate native ads. and definitely push onto it and editorials. The other thing I would recommend is use the 80-20 rule. And what I mean by that is 80% of it you could use AI like Claude. Claude is the best one. Do not use ChatGPT. It's just too much AI lingo. Definitely want to feed a lot of customer lingo into it so it understands who your customer is. Feed a lot of research, right? Let me know if you guys want a video on how I do product research. I could, or finding different angles and untapped angles. The other thing is the 20% is you redoing it. So you need to understand what a good copywriting is. So understand direct response, right? We have a video in Brandify if you guys are not in it. I hope this video helped you guys out on what to look for, right? What I mean by that is like what we look at in the soft metrics and hard metrics, understanding your margins, especially if you're doing supplements and MRR, understanding how break-even actually is a really good thing, and understanding how to negotiate with your supplier, because these are number one thing when you're starting to scale, right? This is before even hiring anybody. I'm not even talking about hiring anybody right now. This is literally right when you start bumping budgets up, right when you're about to take it from 1 to 10, right? You've already done the 0 to 1, you're about to do 1 to 10. I'm telling you guys exactly what's working in my brands and what's exactly worked in this new brand we launched like literally a week ago, or less. I don't even know. But yeah, we're already doing a couple thousand days. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comments. But I hope this video helped you guys, and definitely see you guys in the next video. Peace.